guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Choma Stitches and my name is Choma. We're going to be continuing from where we stopped in the last class, and we have made the top layer, the tulle part of this two-piece we're making. So today we're going to be drafting the bustier so that we can make the other part of the dress. Okay, so we're going to be making the bustier gown for this class. I have too many sewing tutorials on this channel on how to make a bustier gown, but this is a new year and I'm just going to make one more bustier gown. And for this bustier gown, if you're an ardent student, if you are a student of this class and you're committed, you will know that even in the nearest future, when I will use the same pattern for another dress, I will refer you back to this class. So you are going to pay attention to this bustier drafting, so that when I will refer you back to this bustier drafting, you will just quietly come and watch the video and refresh your mind. Okay, so we're going to be drafting a bustier, a sleeveless bustier, but I'm going to be keeping every piece of it, both the yoke that we won't be using today. I'm going to keep it for future purposes. So let's get straight into this. For the half length of what we are going to be making today is 17 inches. I'm going to be adding half of an inch to it. This half of an inch is going to be to join the upper bodies to the lower bodies. Okay. Next, we are going to be dividing our pattern into two, and I'm going to be marking out just 10 inches or 11 inches on each side. The shoulder measurement, shoulder of 7.5 inches. So I have marked out my 7 inches for my shoulder, okay? And then from here, I'm going to come down for the back piece 1 inch for the shoulder slanting. And then I'm going to mark out my armhole curve. For the armhole, you divide your bust by 6 and add 1.5 inches. So bust 35 divided by 6 plus 1.5, you're getting 7.2 inches, okay? I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to mark out 1 inch here, and then I'm going to come down and mark the 7.2 inches. Also note that the front shoulder slanting is going to be 1.5 inches, not 1 inch. So I'm going to connect these two lines together. This is the armhole sitting, and then you can mark out these straight lines. For the neckline, I'm going to be using a neckline of 3 inches. 3 inches by 1 inch for the back, and I'll extend it to the zip area. And then for the front, I'm going to mark 3 inches by 3 inches. And then I'll slant it. Now next, we're going to be taking out the difference between the front and the back half length, which is 2 inches for me. So I'm using 2 inches. For the back, you're going to take out your darts. I'm using my bust point to mark out my dart, and my bust point is 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. Now you can take it up all the way to your armhole line or to your bust line. Okay, and then take out your dart. I'm taking out a dart of 1.5 inches on the waistline, which is 0.75 on both sides. And I'm going to connect this. Now I like to rule out this line by half of an inch and then create like a triangle here. It helps to guide me when I am transferring to fabric and when I'm taking out the darts around the fabric. Now for the back tightening, I'm going to come in on the waistline by half of an inch, and I'm going to slant it towards the chest line. So I've taken out half of an inch from this waistline. This is to tighten the back and to avoid the back gaping that comes with your zipper. Okay, also now to also reinforce this back tightening, sometimes I also come up here by say half an inch or 0.75 inches, and I will mark this and I'll rule it all the way to this point. Now this is also, when you take out this half an inch, it also helps to avoid the back gaping. So you can take this part out or you can just sew with it. So for me, I am going to keep this pattern like this, so that anytime I need to alter it, I can just alter it from the fabric, not from my pattern, because I'm going to be using this pattern again. Now The bust, my bust 35 divided by 4 inches is going to be 8.75 inches. So I'm going to mark 8.75 inches. For the waistline, waist 28 divided by 4 is 7 inches. You are adding 1.5 inch for the that will be 8.5 inches. So you connect the line. Okay. Also, we're going to take out the armhole curve. I'm just going to divide this pattern, this armhole, into 2, and I'll go in by 1/2 of an inch, connect it to the shoulder slanting, and then use my curved ruler to curve the armhole. So I'm going to use this to achieve it. I'll repeat the same thing here. For here, I'm going to go up by 3 inches for the front, come in by 1/2 of an inch, connect it to the shoulder slanting, use the curved part of the ruler to curve out the armhole. Alright, now for the front part, we're going to measure from the shoulder to the bust 10 inches, from the shoulder to the under bust 13.5 inches. Now from the shoulder to the top of the bust, I'm going to be using 7 inches, okay? Now you can make yours 6 inches, but you have to take your measurements to work with this. That's to come with your measurements, okay? Repeat these markings over here: 13.5, 10 inches, and 7. Top of the bust line or chest line. This is the bust, this is the under bust. Next, you're going to be taking out your dart. For my dart, I'm using the same 4 inches, that is the bust point measurement, and I'm going to roll it to the end. And then for the dart, for my waistline, I'm going to take out the same 1.5 inch that we took out for the back part. That is 0.75 on both sides. And then I'll take the same 0.75 to the under bust here. And then from this under bust, I'm going to place 2 inches, the 2 on the pull exactly on this 0.725, and I'll extend it to this place to get a complete 2 inches for my waist cinching for the under bust dart. Okay. Now from the bust point, you can come down by 1 inch here and go up here by 1 inch. This is to avoid any kind of pointy part when you are covering your darts. I'm going to be using my ruler to connect this. Now from the bust, I'm going to come out by 0.2, and I'm going to mark from there. I'm going to curve in so that this does not give us any pointy mark, okay? And then I'm going to connect the one at the side on this direction, the center part. I'll do the same thing at the top here. We're taking out the bust, the dart and the top, 1/2 inch on both sides. So I'm taking out 1 inch dart here, and I'm going to use this to connect it. Now I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect this to the waistline. To avoid the pointy part of this, I like to use my curved ruler here to eliminate the pointiness, so this place doesn't come out as pointy. From here, we're going to be imputing the bust measurement. For the bust measurement, 35 divided by 4 is going to be 8.75. Mark your 8.75. For the underbust is 27 inches. So that will be 6.75 inches. Here, you now add the 2 inches dart to it, and you have this here. And then for the waistline is 28 inches divided by 4, which is 7 inches, plus 1.5 will give us 8.5 inches. Now I'm going to connect this. Now I connected it to the armhole as well. Now from the bust line, you're going to come down by 2 inches. That is the difference between the back measurement and the front measurement. This is for your bust dart. That's the 2 inches we took out from here. Okay, so you're taking it out here, and I'm going to rule it from there to the bust point straight. Now we're going to be eliminating this part. I would like to come in here by 1 inch. because I want this to have a sweetheart neckline here. So I come down by 1 inch and I connect it from here. This is going to be a spaghetti sleeve bustier. We will have to take out the yoke. So from the armhole line, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. From the armhole here, I'm coming up by 2 inches. And from these 2 inches, I am going to, for the back part, instead of marking just a straight line like so, I'm going to come down for the back by 1 inch and I'm going to slant it. Now you can make this a bit curvy depending on what you are working on. So I'm going to just connect this like so. This is the back yoke. For the front, I'm going to connect this 2 inches to the second dart leg. I have to connect this line so it will direct me on how I'm going to cut it out. And this is for the front yoke. Next I'm going to do is to cut it out, and when I'm cutting it out, I am going to, for the front part, I'm going to cut out this inner dart first, then eliminate the bust dart before I will now cut it out completely. Lest I forget, we are going to be extending this bust line to meet this 2 inches extension. So let me explain what I'm trying to do. So from here I'm going to be joining these two lines, okay, like so. Now I'm going to extend this. There will be no curve underneath because we are joining it at the armhole directly under the arm. So I'm just going to go ahead and extend this line, the bust measurement, to the chest line. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I am going to rule this as well. So instead of cutting out and cutting in around the armhole, I am going to be cutting it from here. So if you want to use this pattern again to cut a dress that has to have a sleeve, then you know that you will be eliminating this part that we just added. So this provisional part is just to accommodate the design I am creating. Okay, so now I can take out the bust dart. So I've moved my bust dart. I've taken out my bust dart, so it has been eliminated. The 2 inches difference has been eliminated. Okay, I'm going to hold it down. So I'm going to be connecting this to the armhole, and then I'll use a tape to hold it down. So now I'm going to be taking out these two that I don't need for this design. I'm taking out the yoke part of the pattern, and I'm going to be using this part to cut out the upper bodies. Okay, for the skirt part, I'm going to be doing the lower bodies. I'm going to do freehand drafting. So let's draft the lower bodies of this gown. The full length of the gown is going to be 57 inches, and I've taken out the 17 inches already for the upper bodies. So we are going to be marking out 40 inches for the lower bodies, and this 14 inches I'm going to be adding 1 inch to it for the hem of the skirts. So for the hem of the lower bodies, so I'm going to be marking out 41 inches, and I'm also going to be adding half of an inch at the top here, and that is for joining the lower bodies to the upper bodies. So we have 41.5 inches. Now I'm marking out my shoulder to my hip area, which is 26 inches. So I'm going to be placing my tape rule around this 17 inches, okay? Coming down by half of an inch because half of an inch is for the joining, obviously. And I'm going to mark the 26 inches, that's the hip measurement, okay? From here, I'm going to come down to say 10 inches, and this is for ease so that I can curve the pencil effect of this. It's not going to be very pencil, but I want to have comfort when I wear it. I want to be very comfortable in it, okay? So I'm going to mark out this part. I'm just going to indicate it towards the side because we're marking on fabric. I don't want it to be everywhere. My hip measurement is 43 inches. Divided by 4 will be 10.75 inches. And then I'm going to be adding 2 inches for the seam allowance. So for the waistline, my waist is 28 inches, which is 7 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches as well for the ease, for the seam allowance. And I'm not adding any darts to the skirt drafting, okay? Note that. Now, when I get to this down part, this 10 inches I marked on the lower part, now instead of marking the same 10.75 inches for the hip, I'm going to be marking 10 inches or 10.25. Yeah, and then I'll add the 2 inches as well for seam allowance. So I'm going to connect these 2 lines first. Now here, what I have here is 12.25. I'm going to come here and I'll mark out 11 inches at the down part. And I'm just going to connect this to meet this. Now I'm going to cut out this front piece and use it to cut out the back piece. So for the back, I have added 1 inch zip allowance here. Okay guys, so the full length of the gown is 57 inches. We've cut out the upper bodies to be 17 inches. So what I have here for the skirt part is the 41.5 inches. Okay, 1 inch for the hemming at the edge, and then half an inch to join the lower bodies to the upper bodies. For the skirt, for the back part, after I added 1 inch for the zip allowance, and then towards the upside, I had to take out half of an inch on the waistline for the zip tightening and to avoid gaping around the zip, and I slanted it all the way to 4 inches. So also note that. Now I'm also going to go ahead and take out like half of an inch from the waistline. Now I'm taking this out for both the front and the back. This is going to give us a nice shape in the front, and also for the back it will help with the zip gaping at the back. Okay, so from here I'm just going to mark down half of an inch. I'm just going to extend it all the way. Now I'm going to cut out my lining. The lining is going to be 1 inch shorter than the main fabric so that I can use the lining to turn the main fabric in to give it a neat finishing at the edge. I'm going to open up this place and cut out the lining for this. Also, I've transferred the upper bodies to fabric, so I just placed my pattern the way we drafted it on top of my fabric, and I cut it out, adding my 2 inches sewing allowance. Because I added 2 inches to the lower bodies, I had to also add 2 inches to the upper bodies. Okay, this is my stay. I'm going to be ironing the stay to this fabric, to the main fabric, and this is because I want it to have the kind of consistency. It helps to give it a good texture for the fabric. I won't be ironing the stay on the skirt part, only on the upper bodies. Also, this is the cup I'm going to be using for my bustier. Okay, this is a padded ready-made cup. As you can see, you use the size that is perfect for you. This is size 36. My bust is 35 inches, so this is the closest size that works. And I'm going to show us how you attach this to your bustier when we are done making the bustier. Okay, when I'm done making the bustier, we are going to be attaching this in the cup, in the area of this, instead of adding the wording. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using. I'm going to show us how we do this. Also, I'm going to cut out the lining piece exactly the same way as this so that we can start sewing. So I'm going to cut out the lining piece and iron the stay, and then we'll get straight into the joining of these pieces together. So stay with me. So now I'm going to go ahead and join the sides. Take out the dart. This is the back piece. I'm going to take out the darts. I've marked out my dart lines, and this is the lining piece for the back piece, as you can see. And here is the front piece. This is the center piece, and the sides. I'm going to go ahead and join them, and also join the lining piece and neatly iron them. Okay, before we start joining the upper bodies to the lower bodies. I've cut out the lining piece for the lower bodies. Okay, this is it, and I made the lining piece to be 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. That is because I'm going to be joining it here like this. See, I've joined it here. When you turn it to the right side, this is what you get. The end is this clean. I'm sure you guys know this method already, so I do that in most of my tutorials, so you should know this by now. And then I have joined the bustier area. I've joined the pieces together. As you can see, look at how nicely cupped this bustier is. Look at this. Okay, and there is no cup yet inside, so I'm going to be placing a cup inside. So I also sewed the lining piece, and this is the back pieces. I have also taken out all the darts and ironed it neatly. Now for me to place the cup on this bustier, this is what I'm going to do. We know that the chest line or the top of the bust is 7.5 inches from the shoulder, and I added 1/4 of an inch for the for turning the lining piece inside out. Okay, so I'm going to be placing my tape here, the 7.7 inches here, observing the space for the sewing allowance. Okay, and then you're going to mark where the bust point is on this, and the bust point is 10 inches. So this is 10 inches. You're going to indicate that. I'll repeat the same thing here. So next, you're going to take your cup, and I'm going to fold the cup like this. You know where the center line is. You're going to indicate this center line. Okay, now this part is supposed to start from the under bust. Now from here, you also measure your under bust. From here, you measure your 10 inches to 13.5 inches. That is the under bust. 13.5 inches. So you are supposed to take this and place it from the 13.5 inches like this, and it's going to stay on this line. You get what I'm saying? So from this 13.5 inches, that's the under bust measurement. I am going to place the end of this. Knowing the center line, this is going to help to guide us, so it will follow the center line of the cup area that we've cut. So I'm going to place it here, following the same line, and I'm just going to go ahead and gum it. Now for this, I am going to be using a glue gun. Now you can use a glue gun to do it. I'm going to be using my glue, so I can heat up this glue using a fire source. So you can heat up the glue using a fire source to melt it a bit. So this is what I'm going to do. You melt this and you place the glue at the center there. You can start attaching it. See what I'm doing? Now you keep heating it up and you gum it until you've gummed it to the end. Now what I do is, after gumming it to the end, I put my hemming gum all around and I use my iron to iron it, to steam it, and to give us a perfectly finished cup. And you know that because it's a gum, once you use your steam iron, it will reinforce the gum around the cup area. So this is a way you can attach your ready-made cup in your bustier and gives it a neat finishing. Unlike when you sew with a wadding and it has bulkiness and it takes you longer time to iron it flat out for it to be able to have a neatly finished work. This is easier, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and gum it. I'm only putting the glue gun on the straight line just to use it to keep it in place, after which I'm going to be using hemming gum. So after gumming it down, I'm going to use my hemming gum, this, and I'm going to place it on different parts of it all around, and I iron it down with my steam iron gently, making sure to smoothen out every part around it so it will give me a neatly finished work. I'm going to do that, and then we can start joining the pieces together. So I've gone ahead to glue the cup into the bustier. Look at how neat this is, and look at the effect. My god, this came out better than I would have hoped. Like, it's perfect. It's time to start joining the pieces. I went ahead to cut out a long strip I'm going to be using for the spaghetti sleeve. Okay, now remember that from the shoulder to the top of the bust, that's the chest line, what we cut out was about 7 inches. So when you are cutting out your spaghetti sleeve, you're going to remember that you have to cut out 7 inches for the front, 7 inches for the back, and you can add 1 inch for ease, just to be on the safe side, and then also add 1 inch for the hemming at the edges to keep it neat. So at the end of the day, instead of having 14 inches, you're going to be having like 16 inches as your rope. So you're going to go ahead and fold the rope into two, sew the side with 1/2 of an inch, sew one of the end, and maybe leave one of them open like I did, so you can turn it inside out. So here is the rope. I have finished it off and ironed it as well. Look at how clean it looks. Okay, so it's time to start attaching the rope. I'm going to start attaching it from the front part. Okay, place the lining piece on it, go ahead and join the top and top stitches. Now repeat the same thing too at this part, but for the back piece I'm not going to be adding the spaghetti sleeve yet. I'm going to add the spaghetti sleeve when I'm done making the dress. I will try it on, and then I'll place the spaghetti sleeve exactly where it's most comfortable on my body. So I'm going to sew the top with 1/4 of an inch, turn it the other way and top stitch it as well. So as you can see, I have gone ahead to join the tops, and this is it. It's now looking neater. So this is the two pieces of the back, and this is the front piece as well. I have not ironed it. We're going to do that later, but first I want to start joining the lower bodies. Okay, so to do that, so I'm just going to, even though I've joined the lining piece on the lower bodies here, I am going to be placing this like so and just join it. Join the main fabric to the main fabric, join the lining to the lining. That way we're going to be concealing all of these joining allowances inside the dress. It will not be showing, the lining will be concealing it. Okay, so I've joined the lining piece to lining piece and main fabric to main fabric, and this is how it looks. This is the back. So we have concealed, this is the purpose, concealing the sewing inside, and it comes out looking even neater. Next I'm going to do is conceal the zip allowance by sewing it on the inside, but this is only on the zip allowance, and I'm going to be sewing with 1/4 of an inch. Now when I was transferring pattern to fabric, I did not remember that I was going to be concealing the zip allowance with 1/4 of an inch. I would have added that 1/4 of an inch around the zip allowance while transferring pattern to fabric. But since I didn't do that, if when I do this, I'm going to be sewing my zipper no longer with 1 inch but with 3/4 of an inch. Okay, that's 0.75 inch when I am attaching the zipper. Okay, so if you are using my method, remember all of this when you are cutting. If you don't remember to add it in your cutting, then you are taking out from your zip allowance. Okay, all right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and sew with 1/4 of an inch, but only the zip allowance all the way to the end. I'll do it for both of them, turn it inside out, and then I'll iron this and we'll start joining it together. So this is it. I'm going to turn it inside out and iron it. So here, as you can see, I've ironed it, and look at how neat this looks. So next it's time to put the zip. So I'm going to place the two back pieces together, and then I'm going to take my zipper and measure the length at which the zipper can get to. Okay, now you want the zipper to get to at least 11 inches from your waistline. Your zipper has to get to close to your hip area so that you can wear it comfortably. All right, mark your 11 inches and then sew the rest. Remember, we're sewing with 0.75 inches, no longer 1 inch. So from here I'm going to come down to say here for where I want the slit to start. So I'm going to mark this here. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it from here and stop here, and then I will attach the zipper before joining the front piece to the back piece. And so guys, I've sewn the zip. As you can see, I am yet to iron it though, and this is the slit opening all the way. So this is how I'm going to conceal the slit. As you can see, I'm going to let this part stay like this, and then the other side I'm going to fold it in like this. I'm going to put a hemming gum in between here, iron it down, and then place it like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and top stitch here over and over to secure it so that it will not loosen out easily. Okay, that's for the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and place this on it, the front piece on this, neatly ironed as well. As you can see, I'm going to place the front piece here, and I will join the sides, after which I'm going to try it on, and then at the place where it's most comfortable on my body, that is where I am going to place the spaghetti sleeve around the back piece. Okay, it's going to be somewhere around here, so I will have to wear it to secure it to be sure of where I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and join this, and that will be the end of this part 2 of this class. I hope you've watched the part 1. If you have not, I'm going to leave the link in the description box so you can check out how we made the top layer of this dress. I want to say thank you guys for staying to the end of the tutorial. If at this point you are here to like this video or to subscribe, do well to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that you get notified whenever I post new tutorials. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed, and you can also share this video so that this community can grow. I'd appreciate that very much. Thank you guys for staying to the end of the tutorial, and see you in my next tutorial. Bye bye.